felt like you're stuck, like you're standing on the edge of something great, but you don't even know how to take the first step? Well, we've been there too, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome to What If It Works Out, a podcast for the dreamers, the doers, and in-betweeners, a space for those of us who want to navigate with intention and curiosity, and really a space for you to grow and have countless of possibilities. So if you're asking yourself, where do I start? Where do I even begin? Then this conversation is definitely for you. I am Ola.
And I am Pure.
We're your hosts for today, and today we're talking about what happens when you feel stuck and you don't know where to move forward. We'll be sharing our personal experiences as well as some very key takeaways that you can implement into your life. So, if you feel like you're in the season of not knowing where to start, then join us for the conversation.
Amazing. I'm so excited, and I know you. And more than anything, I just want us to start with introducing ourselves, Ngoban, first and foremost. And how did we end up in this position, and why we're here, and why we chose this medium of entertainment to record our mission and our vision, really, for this podcast and what we're about as people, because we don't want to just throw a beautiful podcast all your way and it's just no stars. Imagine.
Who are these people telling us to do this, do that?
It's not
Who are you in my life to speak like that? Girl,
great.
we need to start from the ground. Who are you? Where you come from? What do you do? I'm interested in you, baby. Tell me, who are you?
Okay, well, my name is Pure. I'm from a small town, which I will not disclose just yet. You'll find out throughout the stories, but I grew up in the Eastern Cape, very proud, a Xhosa girl,
Yes.
and bred and born there. Everything I've done, everything there, which is like my upbringing is based on where I come from. I come from a flock of women, and I've come from a very strong background of Xhosa men. So a lot of my inspirations are infused by my tradition and my faith. I'm a born again Christian. In this journey of building a strongest relationship with God. And this is something that I want us to talk about because this is what we share, the commonalities between. Is that such a word as commonality?
Uzoyenza a new word kaloku, commonalities between me and you.
I don't think that's such a word, but girl,
Here in the space, there's such a word. Commonalities.
common factors Akola and I share is our faith, our background. Plus, um, yes, we met. I met Kolan at O Week, and it was so special. It was kind of like a love at first sight type of moment. Like, we met in such a weird way. It was in the dining hall, lounge sitting area, whatever. We were sitting there for a week after singing our lungs out. And yeah, I was really annoyed about the situation. I just wanted to go to my bed and sleep. And no, those house comms kept as they yapped about Lord knows what. And I remember being so annoyed. And she said a comment that I was thinking the whole time. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I love her already. We're going to be amazing friends. And we've been inseparable since.
Yeah, I even said I love you on day 2. That's how I knew.
That was weird. But that was so weird.
I was like, I love you. Like I made my choice. I was like, you are definitely in my heart. I'm giving you my heart and let's go with it. But yeah, we've been friends for how long now? 6 years. Damn, girl, you can keep it. Hey,
Flies by, actually.
okay. Wow, that's
We
crazy.
days in 10 years. That's insane.
That's really special.
That is.
Our friendship's longer than your relation. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just playing with you.
But who are you, girl? And how did you play a role in this podcast coming to be, girl?
Okay, so I am these questions, who are you? Now it's like you're under the microscope. But basically I am a storyteller, I'm a creative, I'm a filmmaker. I'd call myself a multidisciplinary artist because there's a lot of things I'm dabbling with, but I'd say most of it is mainly in storytelling. And in terms of how would I describe myself? I would call myself a nomad because I don't remember a time where I lived for more than 2 years in a place or a city. We were always constantly moving around as children. So that really forced me to adapt constantly.
Yeah.
I was always the new girl all the time. Sometimes it was nice, sometimes it was not so nice. But yeah, I was always moving around, but predominantly or originally, I'm from the Eastern Cape. And I also have to say everywhere in the Eastern Cape because my family is spread out through everywhere. I've lived in like more than 5 towns in the Eastern Cape, but now I'm doing Mkosa and Teta. I'm from the Eastern Cape.
Yeah,
I'm creative.
yeah, yeah.
And in terms of, yeah, yeah. Mhm. In terms of in terms of the podcast and how it came to be about, it it's really for me, it was a space for accountability, a space for starting and beginning, even when there was a lot of fear and a lot of doubt. And yeah, like you were saying, you said something so beautiful. It's an archive, really. It's an archive of our journey, our personal journeys as creatives, as friends, as young adults trying to navigate their 20s. Like, no one gives you a script for this day. No one gives you a script.
There's no tablet on how to live your 20s. I think really where it started was in December when we were doing our like weekly check-ins, and it went from weekly check-ins to being like, okay, hey, like what would keep us accountable for, or like in general. And yes, we can keep each other accountable, but what will help us monitor our growth throughout this process? Because at the end of the day, we could use our artistry to support us and as a data capture for our growth. And more than anything, we want to be bigger than who we are. And we have these big, amazing dreams that scare us. And that in itself can hold you back from actually acting, because you already are 10 steps ahead and you don't know what to take.
Mm.
The first step, what will it be, essentially? So we started speaking about this as like a joke at first, and then I was just like, no, dog, like let's actually do it with the real.
For real.
What if we don't, and we're adamant in the point of saying that we want to make this a medium of capturing, yes,
Mm.
but also to hold each other accountable, that we must not look for exterior validation,
Mm.
but to affirm ourselves.
Yeah.
How can I face me right now?
Yeah. I mean, also just to also talk about purpose
Yeah,
and faith, because that's the core of our living. We are Christian and we do love God and we want to
yeah,
involve Him. And it's like, okay, God, you've given us these gifts. You've given us these gifts. You've given us so many ideas and dreams. But what platform? Where to from here?
way to execute.
Where to execute. And I think one of the biggest gifts that God has given us is the mouth. Because, yeah, see, yeah, yo, we're here. There's so we can talk for girl, friend. We can talk forever. And I was like, you know what? It's also a great space to also to talk and use the gift that God gave us. And it's like, let the flesh die and masikalin, because if we don't start, then we'll never know. So
Yeah.
this is how we came up with the whole idea of podcast and the name behind the name. Such a significant name, because we're so quick to doubt, we're so quick to write ourselves off, we're so quick to point out on the problems and point out on the things that are not working.
Yeah.
And you said to me, but what if it works out?
Yeah.
Just what if you give yourself a chance? What if you take the first step and allow yourself to see where it goes? Because it might just work out.
It might just work out. I think that's something we never sit in. We're so creative with our excuses as human beings.
Couldn't have said it any better.
We are so creative. Like, I feel like my imagination runs wild when I dwell on the negative. And it's something that then it can be generationally built, because, for example, just simply our degrees that we've chosen to do, it's a very, very hard industry we chose.
Yeah.
And it's very closed off, and it's very, people would say saturated. I don't believe so, and maybe we'll discuss that another day. But it's not a saturated field, but it's a field untapped and that has so much potential. But because there are only a few doors that people think they can open, or that could be open for them, we kind of leash onto what works. And we took a risk by choosing the degrees we did, or just in the arts. And it's a leap of faith because there are not a lot of opportunities, or rather, the industry is secluded.
Yeah.
And that can be a cause of feeling stuck because maybe you don't have a connection. Maybe you don't have a friend that knows a friend on in the big tables.
Mm.
Maybe you don't have the heart to do under table dealings.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the heart to of bribery. There's so many factors that come into the industry, and most are negative than positive, and that is one of the factors that can make you feel stuck. Don't you
Yeah.
think? What do you think about that?
Definitely. It's such an overwhelming sensation, especially when you're a recent graduate, I think,
Oh,
because you're in school for 4 years, you're studying in a silo, in a secluded environment, and then now it's time to work, it's time to get a job, but where to start, where to go?
where to start?
And it's like, um, today's topic is about feeling stuck, right?
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying in terms of the space and the environment, but I'm also interested in terms of feeling stuck. Yes, the circumstances when you're starting out, they can be overwhelming, but I also believe that feeling stuck can also be from within, like the internal.
100%.
And I think that's why I love the name of the name of our season, because it's me versus me.
Yeah.
Because along the journey we will have conversations about the space, how to take up space, how to create
Yeah.
space, how to navigate this industry. Well, based off of our conversations and our discussions. But yeah, really, in terms of feeling stuck, I think you really need to address the internal, especially when you're stepping into spaces like that.
Absolutely.
So my question to you is, what is feeling stuck for you?
Mm.
Like, what does that mean for people?
Awesome. So I wrote a letter to myself when I first discovered the actual topic of today's episode. And I'll read it briefly, and just the first paragraph I basically wrote that feeling stuck is a mostly an emotion that most of us experience, whether it is tackling our career pursuits, whether it's in our relationships, platonic and romantic, whether it's our financial achievements, or wanting our financial goals rather, and structures, as well as our mental state and physical state and psychological state. And it is an all-rounder feeling,
Mm,
and it can play in any factor of our lives,
mm,
right? So first thing I identified that, okay, cool, this feeling is normal. I experience it most in forms of not having an outcome. I think that is my biggest hurdle when I'm feeling stuck. I don't know what next to do.
the uncertainty.
The uncertainty. And because I'm such a problem solver
Mm,
as an individual, when I can't solve a problem, it literally, like, it binds me as a person. I feel so useless and helpless. And I don't have a one way, like, method of how I get out of that slump. But I know that feeling can be very incarcerating.
and all consuming.
It consumes you. It does. Like, bamba as a person, and you really can't shake it off. It's one of those things that you have to actively deal with on a day-to-day basis, because it's nothing that you can shake off over one motivational video.
And I think it also morphs in different seasons. It looks like there's something different.
Absolutely. And so recently, but I think an area I felt stuck in was, it was, oh dude, it was so stupid, if I'm being completely honest. Um I was helping my brother with his application for university, and he didn't get the acceptance where he wanted to go, right? And because I had worked in that university, I used every resource that I had there, but it still didn't work out. And what I mean by that is that I went to go to the offices myself in case. I did everything in my might, but the outcome still failed. And that caused me to be afraid. I felt like a failure, that I couldn't accomplish that for him. but maybe it was not destined for him to be there. I literally scratched that as an idea, as an outcome that maybe he's not supposed to be there. But I was like, no, since I was there, he should be there.
Mm.
Yeah, that is one incident that I can recall so recently that I felt stuck. And I don't know. It's how do you, when you first saw the topic, what did you think of?
Wow. It is. Yeah. No. Like it's crazy because the past few days I've been feeling stuck
Yeah.
about even being here. Like, okay, how do I approach it? Which way? Da da da. Like, how do I dive into it? But when I look at feeling stuck, there's a saying that people say, the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the opposite. It's the storm before the calm.
Calm.
Cause wow, my emotions, they are like a hurricane. It's turmoil. It's hey sana.
I've seen it in real life.
I'm literally the opposite of that. And that for me, feeling stuck is such an emotional thing.
Yes.
I think I feel things so deeply. I internalize things, and when I feel stuck, I absolutely feel like there's no way out. And I cannot see past what I'm feeling in this moment. It consumes me to the point where I don't even know. Like I can't see a way out. I can't see a way out. So for me, feeling stuck, it really is an emotional thing. And yeah, I've had to sort of sit down and reflect a lot of the times. And I ask myself this question, like, is it such a bad thing to be going through what you're going through?
Yeah.
And also, our emotions, they are volatile. They're changing constantly. So I ask myself, like, how can I it's not to say be comfortable in your emotions. It's not to say wallow in your emotions, but at the same time not to be afraid of your emotions and learning how to confront or learning how to sit with them, whether they're positive and negative. So that for me, that's where my mind went. It went straight to my emotions because I think before I can breathe, before I can relax, the lot like internally it's a mess. It's a big
Overthinker.
yes, and you professional overthink and the perfectionist. Like you're saying, you always want the next solution. You always want to have a hold of. So my brain is working overtime. I'm already planning what I'm gonna be doing in 20 years, darling. I do not know.
We quickly live. I just want to say, Ola and I always have this debacle. I love her. You plan for the future, and I never oppose that. I live in the present because I hate for people to like not prepare for themselves for disappointment, because I feel like you have been so hurt by my own timelines. Like we were talking about this the other day. I was like, do you know what makes me feel stuck? Is things don't go a lot like along with an alignment with my timeline. My biggest disappointments were my decisions. My decision of creating a timeline that at 22 I need to have this car. At 21 I need to buy my first house. At 23 those things never happened.
Girl,
I end up I like I'm like time is moving dibani because it's your timeline.
well, fuck pressure.
Yourself. Your dude. Also uzogulisa ngezinto that you can't control. Uzogula uthi bhada baligeza, as a matter of fact. And you're causing your own disappointment. And you feel stuck because of you.
Because when you went ahead of God and you were like, A, B, C,
We're
D.
practically telling him what to do.
Yeah.
We're not giving him the leeway.
I agree. Then it also like makes me ask this question. What's the fine line between surrendering and striving? Like what's the fine line? Like what's the fine line? Because they say a man without a plan. I uzozibonela ngokwakho.
Plan.
Hey, without a plan, you're gonna get the results of not making a plan.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy. I need to plan. I need to make sure. But at the same time, like you're saying in raising, baby girl, is it timelines akho is
That caused
and sometimes you need to let go. Sometimes you need to surrender. Sometimes it's like not by my might, but by God's power and His strength and His inclusion. So, what's the fine line between striving and surrendering? Because That's where we're living in.
I would say, I think this is when I think of striding, I think stride, which means plan for the future as best as you can, the way you foresee it being, right? Surrender the timeline, and surrender, like basically plan with a gap of disappointment. Like there needs to be room for disappointment.
Or like a sense of like reality.
Reality.
Yeah.
A sense of like
It could.
it might not go exactly that way. That's the part where you surrender. Surrender the control. Surrender
The control.
surrender the control. Surrender the timeline. Surrender the possibility of different characters being a part of the story. It can be the same narrative, but different characters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand.
What would you say?
For me, the fine line between the two, um, striving, like you're saying, it's planning to a certain amount, but at the same time, surrendering control. For me, really, especially when having to work with emotions, the most important question then I asked myself was, if you're feeling so stuck and if you're feeling so uncertain and you want all of this control, like where does this sense of wanting control stem from? And I was like, hmm, okay, their fears is because of fears. I don't want to fail. I want to make sure everything is going according to a thing. Then am I not playing then God in my life?
Dude, stop.
I'm playing God because
Okay.
I'm not trusting him. I'm not trusting in his plan.
Very good.
So really feeling stuck then is a faith thing. It's about how much faith do I believe?
It's a faith test.
Yes, it's a faith test. Ahem. I am thinking of one of my favorite stories in the Bible actually right now.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm Peter, hey? I am Peter. Do you know
Why
why
are you like?
I'm Peter? Because I'll step into a situation, I'll be like, yes, let's go. I'll be walking on water, doing the most impossible thing. Next thing, I look at my conditions, my circumstances. Oh shit. Ah,
It's okay.
I just saw.
It's okay. God is gonna transform you, God. He's gonna come literally.
Oh no, cut the cameras, but okay. So, oh, okay.
What is going on?
Wait,
Out of this. Girl, out of this.
so basically, I'm Peter. I'm stepping into the impossible. I'm walking on water. Next thing, I look at my circumstances. I look at everything, and then I'm like, oh no, and then I sink. But the beautiful thing about that story is the fact that Jesus didn't allow Peter to sink. He still sunk, but he still held on to him, and he was like, oh, ye of little faith, come on now, like why aren't you having faith? And it was really a great test of faith. So when I feel like we're talking about being stuck and I'm reflecting back to my emotions, I always think back to that story. It's actually one of my favorite stories about faith. um and really for me, especially with the emotional element of it, it's like, okay, do I have faith? Why do I feel stuck when I know that Utito, he is the one who has fashioned everything. He has created the trajectory of my life. He knows things that I do not know, and he wants the best. And I walk, and I'm sitting here talking in confidence. I'm saying, "Oh, I believe that Christ is for me. I'm Christian. I'm walking this journey of life." But in that moment when I sit down and I'm consumed, I always remember that, okay, this is also just a testing of your faith right now in this situation and in this season. So for me, as much as we can look at it from how much do I go forward and how much do I surrender, it's also a thing of like praying about it and like asking the spirit to lead you in that direction when it comes to those emotions. And yes, we might be talking and someone out there might be like, well, the practicalities, the practical steps, like what do I do?
That's the part.
What do I do?
Do as it
So we can
stands.
talk about it like this. Oh, you don't have enough faith. That's why you're stuck. But I don't think that's a way of
And that's not a
approaching.
constructive way
It's not a
to help a
constructive
person
way.
get out of a slump. I think
Mhm.
also the test is, can I just say, if I'm being completely honest, some of us Christians are really greatest actors, hey? Christians are one of the greatest actors.
Winning.
We are Oscar win. We can go up front and give motivational speech and all sorts of faith contents that we don't believe in us, that we don't believe ourselves, and that's like a walk of faith as well. That, do you know, sometimes we can preach something that you don't believe.
That's crazy, actually.
I've done that. Sometimes I've done that to you.
Hey, girlfriend.
And I'm giving you motivation. That time I know for a fact that behind closed doors, I don't believe it. Do I know this fact to be true? Do I believe that God can change my circumstance? Absolutely. But in this episode or scenario of my life, I don't trust God enough to have full control over it. That's why I yearn for control. That's why I yearn for perfection. That's why I'll never start anything.
Yeah, and that's why you're holding yourself back, and that's why you're not starting.
Asizuqale you'll find, like I was telling you, us as humans, we are creative in finding excuses. It's because I live in an impoverished background. Yes, that is your reality, but that can't bind you for the rest of your life. It can't bind your, at least your imagination to dream.
Yeah. At least we're inside. We're not even saying the physical steps. So then that means then it's also a mental thing. Like there has to be a mental shift, and you're not gonna, like, when you're starting out anything, you're not gonna know all the pieces, but you're taking your first step, even when you don't know and you can't see. That's what faith is also about. You're moving for it. You're walking in a tunnel blindfolded. You don't see, but you're choosing to take a step, and you take a step, and you take a step, and you take a step.
And you may think that it's easier said than done. And that is true. It's easier said than done. For example, for us to even start this podcast, we had multiple meetings.
Girlfriend.
Before we came to this point. When I tell you multiple, guys, I'm telling you, I think beyond 5 or 6 meetings.
We had so
How long? 2 hours, 3, 4 hours, minutes, a business plan, a this, a that. We need this for this one. We need a cameraman. We need lighting. We need this. And that's because we're used to we have a standard.
We have a standard.
And fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, yes, I don't know, when you're Android. The truth is, we don't want the color.
When I get color Android, and that's it.
Faint.
I didn't know that. You just that you should filmmaking or command telling Android. And you know, like that stuff on social media, like you watch these motivational things. Where you have.
That's where you lie.
Are you gonna be starting? I would film makeup when you're Android jam. No ways. You were saying we have standards. All right, because I'm not gonna go to Vids and study for 4 years in filmmaking, and you an Android. Hello. So I have my standards, and it's okay, sharp. You have your standards, and it's okay to have your standards. But at the same time, don't allow, like you said, something so important to me. Don't allow the picture and the idea that you have in your head to prevent you from actually starting out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, you can plan it all to a certain extent. You can do your Pinterest mood boards. You can put together the chartreuse. You can put together, and it's okay because at least you're working towards something. Something to look forward to.
I remember when we were doing the business plan with our graphic designer.
Yeah.
Graphic designer, right?
Yes.
And that's gonna look like,
and she's a graphic designer.
Yes, the graphic designer. And obviously we have these amazing Pinterest pictures. And it's so much, it's like I look forward into buying all these gadgets. And as we were setting up today, I was asking them, I want to learn. But okay, you don't like gimbal. Okay, gimbal, okay, you like the you don't know. I want to know
field.
because and I don't know what the hell is that. You don't know the food.
So basically, shallow depth of field is basically separating your image. So when you're looking at quality, you want to have a background that's a bit blurred, so that what's in the foreground is what's in focus. So it has to do with separating the elements of the image you're composing. But
so it's just all about the process and the makeshift, and starting literally isusa. Oh, I'm gonna reference my mom a lot. Prepare for it, and she probably was gonna watch this podcast. My mom always says, when you are scared, ne? She used to. Okay, my mom grew up a very, very old like Xhosa tradition. Ati gingilike. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like physically? And yeah, physically. I was like, girl, I'm like, I don't know.
I'll be like, wait.
But what they're trying to say, the metaphor is that, like, uzenza isibindi. You literally create the daringness. If you feel like you're nervous, you're shaking, ginyilike. You have to push through.
Swallow it, baby.
Swallow it and keep it rocking.
Yay.
So things you have, like everything you start in your life, it could be a business, it could be a relationship, it could be yonkindo. I'm sure you would be nervous for other things that are to come into your life. Job interviews. A lot of people are praying for jobs right now.
Yeah.
A lot is at stake. There's so many things, opportunities that are come up in your life that you're going to be nervous for. But what you need as a person, the daring nature, just you dare. But doesn't I dare you?
If I can pack away, I dare you. Come
I
on.
dare you.
Wow. And also, like, I'm just thinking, like, yeah, look, we can have our standards, we can have our perceptions, but at the end of the day, is doing, like, press is if you wanna do content creation, for example, regard, like, for us, even where we are right now, if you could see our setup, girl, I don't want to already taking a bunch of lamps and things and putting them around. And we're like, okay, fine, let's actually start off here to present. You know, people connect with the message, they connect with the people more than the quality. Yes, you can have the high end cameras, you can have the high end sound quality. Guys, like, this microphone that I'm speaking to you with, it's not even the highest quality, but it's doing its job. So, making it easier for you to move forward is to eliminate the high expectations and just saying, okay, what can I actually do right now? What step can I take right now
to do the job?
Yes. For us, one day, a step was just hopping on a call and saying, okay, friend, this is what we could do. And the next phone call, it's like, okay, we have the idea of what we could do. Now let's break it down into possible topics. And you slowly build and you slowly build.
Absolutely.
You know, and I love this. Feeling stuck is a season, not a sentence.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
It has an expiration date.
Dude.
It has an expiration date. So, yes, you feel stuck. Yes, you feel like you want to give up, but the time will pass because Utito, the way he works seasonally. Friend. So, I realized we touched on a couple of things. And yes, there are multiple ways of feeling stuck. We're just scratching the surface, right?
Yes.
So I think what I would want to know, like, just to wrap up what we've been talking about, to recollect our thoughts, what are your key takeaways about feeling stuck and like the practical steps for moving forward? Because at the end of the day, we can inspire people, have words, but it's like, okay, what do I do from here? You know?
Absolutely. I think the first and foremost is to acknowledge that you're feeling stuck and you're in a slump. And after acknowledging, ponder and question yourself as to why. And if you can't find the why, dig further. What is the why? Because every place has a start, every feeling has a source. And then ask yourself, do you want to stay in that state? How long do you want to stay in that state for? And what you're going to do about it? And if you don't have a solution, find a solution, because it's not a healthy place to be in. It's not constructive, it's not productive. It doesn't help stay in a place in Otaga, essentially. Do you understand what I mean? So I think my takeaway would be I would acknowledge it, confront it, debate it, and then find ways,
Even small, even if it's small.
big or small, small ways on how to face it.
So what you're saying is instead of just resting in that feeling, actually engage with it,
Engage with it.
question it,
Have a
unpack.
conversation. We all have conversations with ourselves, right? Absolutely. I believe all of us are crazy and talk to ourselves. So uxakwe yintoni uba into uthethe nawe nesipho sakho. Talk to yourself. Uzibuze, okay, I'm down this morning. Okay, why are you down? Uyazi cause uba it's caused maybe someone upset me or someone said a comment that was reflecting to a place that I'm insecure about and it stuck with me. Do I want a relationship with lo mntu? Okanye it is a passing comment that I can overcome and overlook and put it behind me and not let it define me and basically incarcerate me.
Or maybe it's not a person, it's a situation.
It's
I
a
don't have
situation.
this. I don't have this. I'm not ready. It's like literally like
Could
you're
be
saying
anything.
battling yourself. Also, as much as you can sit down and have conversations with yourself, sometimes being with yourself is not easy, hey?
Absolutely.
It doesn't look pretty up there sometimes.
It's not.
Mm.
But that's the greatest thing is that if you have such a brain to have such creative ways on how to pin yourself down, uzibambe konini.
Surely.
If your brain is so powerful to put yourself in a slump like that, your brain has the power to take yourself out of it.
Sus tata chip. Sus tata chip.
Azise,
Your mom is the best human.
Azise, yeah, mom. Talk to your woman then.
Oh man, that's such great takeaways. So
For you.
confronting, and like digging deeper.
Acknowledge, confront, and deal.
For me, I've got 3 takeaways from today's discussion. The first one is a perspective shift. So instead of saying, God, get me out of here, it's saying, God, grow me here. Perhaps you just need that perspective shift on your situation. The second takeaway is that, you know, doing something is about progress and not perfection.
Real.
We get so caught up in the perfection end of the things, the final result. But when you're starting out anything, it doesn't look cute.
It does.
Look,
It's so cringe. And probably when we watch this, we're
Yeah.
gonna be like, ew.
And then 10 episodes down the line, we're gonna be like, okay, we're
It
good.
is what it is.
We're popping up, we're popping up, we're popping up. And I mean, the third thing, the third takeaway for me is, what can I do in just the next 24 hours? Just the next 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Am I sending an email? Am I creating that vision board? Am I making that phone call? Literally, you can do anything within 24 hours, just that one thing. And I'm throwing it back out at you. What can you do in 24 hours? That's all it takes, one day at a time. Those are the 3 things I'd say are my key takeaways.
Absolutely. And this is such an open and honest conversation. And it's not linear. We're just speaking about ourselves and what we've gone through. It's basically we're just taking homework from what we've gone through, but we would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What has your experience feeling stuck in a situation? What was the situation? Did you get out of the situation? How did you get out of the situation? Because more than anything, we want this platform to give practical actions on how to do izinto. Yes, I can be motivational all day, but ungichazela uba ndinyathele phi ndiyeke phi ndibrike phi ndithini, it doesn't help. It's not constructive. And us in our 20s, we're still finding our feet and figuring it out. The best way to do it is to ask each other that, okay, wena mntazi wenze njani? Wayeka phi washiya ntoni wathini phi? What are you doing? Tell me. I think sharing is such a powerful form. And I think the reason why we're so scared to start is that sharing is an essence of vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta really strip yourself down to
Down to
to
be
do like
you're exposing cells of like parts of your cells that you have behind closed doors and giving it to other people to criticize and compare if it works or if it doesn't is is very vulnerable. It's very scary.
it's so scary.
So we're taking a risk, you and I, and we're putting it out to you guys that hey, y'all, how did you deal with such and such?
Girl, if you've got a solution, we should be sharers out here in this community. I don't believe in holding stuff back. So yeah, like you were saying, share with us on social media platforms, tag us, let us know how do you deal with feeling stuck. And look, if you know that there are more people who need to be in this conversation, then share it with them. We'd love to hear from you guys.
We want to hear from you guys, our people, and to know that we as a community, we're not a generation that's closed off. Oh, I love our generation in that sense that we're very open. I think what we definitely need to be open about, though, is um, conversation, sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly through the journey of becoming.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're all becoming something. Surely, you're not just living your life in a plateau. You're becoming something. You're growing. You're learning.
Absolutely.
Every single instance, every single interaction, encounter. So yes, let's become together, guys.
If this episode spoke to you, girl, don't keep it to yourself. Okay? Share it with the rest of your friends and the people who are on the journey of becoming. We are so keen to hear from you. What were your takeaways from this episode? What did you experience while feeling stuck in this season? Tag us on every social media platform and share it with the rest of your friends. And remember, keep doing, keep dreaming, keep believing. Because what if it works out?